And I failed every time. I try to do it in a different way or stay in the lines of what somebody thinks is appropriate. I don't do it as well as when I'm creative and I'm freestyling and I'm making my own path. So I think that's really important that people allow themselves to fail and allow themselves to find their lane instead of just trying to jump into what it's supposed to look like. That's how you know you're a real one, when you out here and you able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I demand more of you. Everybody's opportunity doesn't look the same. We could all collectively work together in our greatness to do something fly. Hi guys, this is Kia from Lux K and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, this is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 211, and I'm super excited for you all to hear from today's guest, Kia Stewart. And Kia is the owner and founder of Lux K, which is, in Kia's words, where hustle and artistry merge through wellness-based nail care and client education. Kia is a dope editorial and wellness nail specialist. She makes dope designs. She is a phenomenal artist. Kia's going to talk to us about how she went from having a career in dentistry and being in the nail industry and all that she learned along the way. We're going to talk about doing it your own way, how she built clients from the ground up, why it's so important to master your mind and also commit to the hustle. And we're going to just keep it real about some of the things that no one tells you that you're going to have to face when you're an entrepreneur. This episode is special. It's Kia's first podcast, but as I told her, she needs to do more of them because her story's dope. She's super inspiring. And I know you all are going to want to know more even after hearing her journey. As always, if you love this episode, please share it on social media. You can find us across the board at Dreams and Drive, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Post it to your Instagram stories, tweet it to people, Facebook it, send it to people via text, whatever. Just make sure you send this episode to one person. I'm telling you, you are going to feel inspired. And the best thing that you can do when you're inspired is to pay it forward. If you want to join our weekly newsletter, The Keys, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Please, Dream Drivers, make sure that you are subscribed wherever you're listening. Hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications every time we have a new episode. And if you're listening in an Apple Podcast especially, please leave us a rating and review. I love reading those, and they also are very helpful for people who are trying to learn more about the show. I appreciate it as always. Let's get into this episode with Kia. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Hey Kia, welcome to this episode of Dreams and Drive.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I am good. I'm so excited to actually be talking to you. I feel like I've been a fan of your work online for the longest now. So actually getting to put a voice to the name is going to be really dope.
Yes, this is my first one, so I really appreciate you reaching out to me and also supporting what I do. And I don't really talk that much, so I know a lot of people will be tuned into this because it's the first exclusive.
So like first podcast interview or just first interview in general?
No, actually, this is my first podcast interview. I've been interviewed a couple of times from my prior career that I was in dentistry, so I had to talk a lot with my colleagues. But on this platform, this is my first time for nails.
All right, so let's get it started the way that I always love to get it started, which is going back in time, right? I really feel like it's good to reflect on who we were as children. So if I had to say who was Kia, the 8-year-old, 9-year-old, what was inspiring you back then?
Oh, that is such a good question. Okay, so we're getting to it.
Yes.
8 and 9-year-old Kia is kind of funny. I still had the same personality. Everybody that knew me from back then, they're like, you just never changed. What inspired me at 8 and 9 was probably my grandfather, 100%. He was just a free thinker. He was a hustler. He was very motivating. And he's the foundation to a lot of the things that I do. So I was kind of all over the place. I didn't have one set thing that was my inspiration or I wanted to be. because he made me feel like I could do anything.
All right. So you didn't have like that one dream that you were trying to pursue as a kid? Because I know for me personally, I wanted to be, well, this is embarrassing. I wanted to be a cashier. My mom was like, girl, please don't ever tell anybody that.
No, that's not embarrassing. So my first job, I remember everybody was getting their working papers and everybody wanted to be like a camp counselor and stuff like that. I went to sell sneakers on Fordham Road because I thought that was the most popping job to have. So.
You mean outside or in a store?
No, in the store. Are you from New York?
I'm from Jersey, but I'm familiar with New York.
Yeah, so having a sneaker job back then was really a big deal, and especially on Fordham Road. So I wanted that to be my first job.
So what was the approaching like high school and stuff? Did that dream change? I mean, once you actually got into high school and thinking about life as an adult, what was it that you were moving towards?
So in high school, I didn't have a set direction either. I never liked to be placed in boxes. I always felt like my mind worked a little bit different than most people. Mm-hmm. I had principles that I always wanted to align myself with. And my principles was to be hardworking, never to do anything to myself, my reputation, and to also put my Blackness first. My friends call me Shabazz as my nickname because just being an African American is such an honor, and I've always wanted to work in the regard to always show and highlight that. So I never had a direct path. Just as long as whatever I wanted to do lined up with my principles that spoke to who I was okay with it. But I kind of always felt if I stayed aligned with that, I would be successful.
Do you remember your first job? Well, did you go to college, or what was life after high school like?
Yeah, so I went to school upstate. Life after high school was pretty much, I didn't really come from a family that was like, okay, you have time to figure this out. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much go to school, make sure you get a good job. We got you this far and do your best. But that worked in my favor though, because I was allowed to experience being an adult on my own, and my sister's a microelectronics engineer, so I really attached to her school experience because she was focused. If you was to ask her these questions, she would have known from being younger to high school and stuff what she wanted to do. I kind of figured it out as I went because I'm a creative person, so it's hard to just have that mindset to be like, okay, structure all the time.
Yeah, but I feel as creatives sometimes it's often hard choosing, all right, so what's going to be the first stop along this journey, right? Like I know for me, I kind of fell into it working at a nonprofit my first year out of college. What was the job that you fell into or that you chose as, all right, this is going to be the first stop along my journey?
So the first job that really was impactful for me is my background is in dentistry. And I always worked in Midtown Manhattan, and I worked at really established offices. And me being in dentistry gave me the opportunity to be creative, but to also be structured and help other people. Because when you're working with teeth, you're working with different colors, different shades, different hues. People have different oral dentition issues, so you have to be creative and how to speak to them about that. And then also the structured part, you're dealing with people's health care. So that's a big responsibility, and taking all the information that you're educated about and and putting it in layman's terms for them so it could become daily practice. So when I made that bridge and I started getting more serious as I matured, that was really my first job that was so impactful to me to help others, but also do it at an elevated level.
What were you doing? Were you working like with the dentist, or were you working more on the administrative side in the office? Like what was the job?
I actually did both. The one that I was speaking about that was most impactful was I was a clinical coordinator for a holistic practice on Park Avenue. And I was there for 5 years, and I was learning the background between sleep apnea, respiratory dysfunction, and all of those things through your dentition. So that was a pretty dope job. That was one of my favorite jobs. I really did.
Well, so that kind of informs why now you're really into nail health, right? Because I feel like a lot of times when we think of like the nail artists or people who work in the field, we aren't necessarily thinking about the wellness aspect, but that's something that you definitely bring to your work.
Oh, yeah. I always tell people I made up my name of how I approach nails, because when I was in dentistry, I was a clinical coordinator for systemic wellness. A lot of people don't even know that systemic wellness is the total body. We think, oh, something is bothering me with my stomach. Let me just go to a general doctor. I have a toothache, and this is just because maybe I have a cavity, but it's a reflection of how your internal body is speaking to your external body. So definitely that's the background of my approach to nails.
So how did you end up making this switch in careers? Because that's a pretty drastic switch, you know? I mean, I don't know anybody who works in the dental field who now works as a nail specialist, you know?
Yeah, I think I might be the first, but that's what I think really is so beautiful about my journey. And right now, you hear entrepreneur, buy the block, do this, do that. And yes, we should be focused on those things. But if your focus doesn't have the foundation, you're going to fail. Dentistry gave me such a strong foundation, and it translates to everything I do with nails. That's what Lux K stands for. My experience is 100% different from anything that you would see in a day-to-day nail salon, because I'm working for the systemic aspect of who's this person that's sitting in front of me? Why do their nails have these different expressions? What's their nutrition like? What's their mind wellness like? Why do they only choose the same colors over and over again? What are those barriers to break? It gets deep. I really love what I do because I'm doing it my way. I'm not doing it the way that my school taught me how to do it when I went to nail school, how jobs taught me nails should be. Lux K is a fresh start on everything that I love and sharing that with people creatively and also with a health focus.
So talk to me about the moment where you realized that you wanted to pursue this career.
Oh, I remember exactly. So Donald Trump was saying that he was running for the presidential candidacy. And I had mentioned that I worked on Park Avenue before. So a lot of my clients were in finance. And they were all coming in and nobody was like really afraid. And I thought that was so weird because I was paying attention to the things that they said about the business aspect of America. And I had one gentleman who actually owned a hedge fund tell me, he was like, as long as my workers keep working, the business is going to keep going. And that struck, I remember that whole day, I just was thinking about it. Like, I made it to this elevated position. I'm on Park Avenue. I really hustled. I worked really hard to get here. But at the end of the day, this is not mine. And at the end of the day, if I'm saying like, okay, all of this progression for the Black mind state and all of these things that I believe in, I'm like, I'm not really living that truth. So I had to think like, okay, what do I like? What would I like doing for the rest of my life if I had an opportunity work for myself? And I kind of wrestled with it. And then I was like, I love skincare and I love nails. And I went to school to sign up once I found a program that I liked at Christine Valme. And it was a lady there, and she approached me, and it was my teacher who ended up being my nail teacher, Miss Betsy. And she just showed me everything in the nail room, and I was talking to her about how I was thinking of transitioning from dentistry. She was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah, I think that this is something that I want to do. And she was just so open to everything that I was talking about. And she never said any idea. I didn't know anything about nails. She never said any idea of how I was talking about the wellness pattern, just really making people aware of it. She encouraged it without me even showing her that I was passionate about nails at this time. It was just an idea. So she kind of led me in that path to feel that this is something that's needed and I should take a shot at it because it was something different that nobody else was doing.
What year was this?
2016. My nail anniversary is actually in 2 days.
But wait. So 2016, you knew nothing about nails? You had never done anyone's nails before? You hadn't like had a little side hustle on the side and was an undercover nail art, not undercover, underground nail artist?
The funny thing is when my friend hears this, she's going to know exactly about her. So personally about me, I've always been a hustler. So I had a full-time job and then I worked at Nike part-time, and there was this girl there and she always kept her nails done, but I always kept my nails done too. But she told me she paints her own nails. So I'm like, oh my God, and they look that good. How do you paint your own nails? And we just started having this communication about like this color. And I was like, maybe that's what I could do because I'm so into that. And that's what led me to go to the open house at Christine Valme. But I had never, ever in my life, I never dreamed of wanting to be a nail salon. I always felt I was a fly girl. I was the person in the nail salon every 2 weeks, but my nails done consistently all the time. So when she told me that she paints her own nails, that intrigued me. I got my nail license in 2007 because I went to school 2016, but I was still working full time, so I only could go on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. Then in 2017, I got my nail license, but my teacher had to call me because I was so nervous to take the licensing board that I let it lag, and to the point that my temporary license was going to expire. So, because it was very weird, like how you asked me, and that's a very important part in my journey when you're like, how did you take the leap from dentistry to nails? Because nails doesn't have a high esteem attachment to it. And I take that very personal because a lot of the nail technicians that I know, they're bright, dynamic, creative women. And I think that we really should look at the beauty industry at a higher light. So 2017, that's when I had my license. And I was working as a manicurist. So manicurists, they don't really do extensions and things like that. I was working at Elizabeth Arden, which was a higher end spa. So they very rarely do anything that's outside of the basic spa, manicure and pedicure, and also gel manicures. So I did that for a year, and it gave me the basics, and I was just kind of over that. I was going between different salons. And then after that, I saw that there was a salon in Brooklyn that was non-toxic. And I was like, oh my goodness, yes, this is what I want to do. But I hadn't picked up nail art until 2018 in February.
Wait, please stop. Please stop for 1 second. Because you know what's funny? I don't even remember how I found, you know how on Instagram you just stumble upon people's pages and you just remember, you just start following them. I don't remember how I found you, but I think I found you, must have been in early 2018 when you were posting your nail art. So this all just, so it's 2019 now. So just in the past year and a half is when your nail art has been flourishing.
Yeah, 100%. You could go to my page right now and scroll all the way down. And I think my first post is Flojo. And it has to be like from 2017. And the reason that that's crazy to people is because they'll say, wow, you just picked this up out of nowhere. But going back to how I feel nail artists are viewed, I worked with some of the best nail artists in New York City when I started in 2018. And I'm a competitive person. And being around the women of that caliber who have been doing nails for 5+ years, shout out to Rhea and Miss Ladies, they really poured into me. And I had a really hard time because I knew nothing about nails, to the point that I just watched it on YouTube and I'm like, okay, I'm not learning anything, so I'm just going to book a flight to Japan. So I booked a flight to Japan because I wanted to see nail art, and it was a solo trip. I just booked it and I went over there, and it was a nail artist that I was following on Instagram, and we were in communication. So she was like, to come and get my nails done there. And she was Japanese. So she spoke Japanese. I spoke English, and I did Google Translator with her the whole time while I got my nails done. And I kind of interviewed her, like, what is this? How do you use this? How do you use that? And her boyfriend was from Sweden, so he spoke English. So he was like, the next day you should come back so we could take you like to the nail supply and you could see stuff. And I'm like, okay. I had no idea about Japanese gel. I barely was even really good at doing basic gel manicures. I was still perfecting regular nail lacquer. And I'm in Japan by myself in a nail supply, and I was lost. The only thing that I bought was cuticle nippers because I had no idea what to buy over there. But working with the women that were the dope nail artists, it really pushed me to elevate my skill. And once I got the confidence and I kind of made my own style and my own design, it just clicked.
Wow. I feel like this story so far is a testament to, like, you don't necessarily have to have that. Like, sometimes your passion and the skills find you, right? Because some people would have been turned off and said, like, I know, like, I'm not an artist. Meaning, I don't think I can draw. I don't think I'm necessarily skilled when it comes to all the detailed stuff that you need to have if you're a nail artist. But it seems like you didn't let not necessarily knowing anything about it stop you from learning.
I think that's the foundation of why Lux K is working.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think inside of boxes. I think if I'm passionate about this and I'm smart, I have the best artists around me. It's okay if I am not at their level. They know I'm brand new. So why have them around me? Why don't I use that opportunity to soak up the things that they have? And I was failing at nails. I was feeling really bad when I was trying to do the nail art other people wanted me to do. Once I was holding the appointments the way that I wanted to, I worked in a salon and I started, and I think in 2017, my Instagram had like 56 followers. And I was still posting. I was still putting stuff up. I was DMing big influencers on Instagram and asking if they wanted to work with me and stuff like that. Because first and foremost, before nails, I'm Kia. I did this already. I had the confidence in what I knew in my mind to be my path. I was just in the now working through it. And I think when people are listening and they want to chase their dreams and stuff like that, the people that are really passionate about their dreams, that passion fuels them. It's not about aligning with what it's supposed to be, because you will fail. And I've failed every time I try to do it in a different way or stay in the lines of what somebody thinks is appropriate. I don't do it as well as when I'm creative and I'm freestyling and I'm making my own path. So I think that's really important, that people allow themselves to fail and allow themselves to find their lane instead of just trying to jump into what it's supposed to look like.
Did you have any naysayers? Any haters? And I know, we talked about this before we started the interview. Like, you said your dad is Jamaican, right? Yeah. I know how Caribbean parents can be. And people who listen to the show must be like, you always talking about being Caribbean. But it's just my perspective and my lifestyle.
It's okay. My father is Jamaican. Oh my gosh. And my mother is the most American person in the world. So I'm like right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious. But since I was little, my father would be like, you don't have no friends. Your sister's your friend. I swear to God. He would tell me that all the time. And it's very true, because me and my sister are a day apart. And we're 5 years apart. And my sister is my number one advisory. And if I have an idea or if I'm going to execute something, when I talk to my sister, if she's for it, I don't care what nobody else say. It's God and my sister. People are always going to say something. I was Kia my whole life before I started doing nails, so I was built for that. That fueled me. And it's all good now, and it's going to continue to be better because I believe in the concept of community, and we're all going through the same things on any level. Even when you have success, you think Oprah doesn't have naysayers, you think Rihanna doesn't have naysayers. Everybody has naysayers. But what is that going to do? That's the difference between somebody who's great and somebody who's trying to act like they're great.
How did you start building the business and getting clients? So you went to Japan, you were learning from a master. How did you come back to America and start implementing all that you saw, like all the potential that you saw within yourself?
Well, I'm still learning how to see potential in myself. It's only been a year and a half. Okay, so the first part of your question was, you asked me how was I growing clientele and stuff like that.
Yeah, like how were you starting to get people to act? How were you convincing people to let you do their nails?
So I didn't convince anybody. My story sounds fake, but it's so real. I didn't have any friends to practice on because all my friends either have professional jobs or they're busy. So I had to practice on myself. This journey started on me. I really feel like this journey is God saying, if you want this, then go after it. And every time I did, I found people that have helped me. This has really been me pushing myself each time through the next level. I had mentioned that my Instagram in 2007 had 56 people on it. I posted like it has 56 million. And I've always done that. I don't buy followers. I don't post things about please come support me and things like that. The things that I think are dope, I put on my Instagram. And I'm more than obliged if you support me and you follow me and you engage with me. I think that's the dopest thing ever. But it was never in my mind, like, let me do this so people would engage with me and they would book me. I came from a professional career, so I had a little bit more breathing room to kind of pace myself. It wasn't like this was my only means of income. It is now, but it wasn't in the beginning. And I was very realistic and honest with myself. Like, okay, you're just starting out. You're not going to have all of these people. But if you continue to practice, my clients that are my clients now, I didn't burn them with the drill. I didn't cut their cuticles too much that they were bleeding. I didn't file them and their nails had blood. But the person in front of them and the conversation that I gave them and the education that I gave them, that never changed. And they stayed and they fed into me and they continuously supported me. I had clients from Brooklyn renting cars to come to the Bronx, to my house to get their nails done. My clients are the reason I moved to Brooklyn because I lived in the Bronx and I just moved to Brooklyn in November and I just opened my studio in January 19th, 2019, and I can't take any more clients. So when you are around honest people and when you are motivated, I think those things will really come to you. I don't have an idea that success is a hard thing to attain. I think really mastering your mind and being committed to your execution and your hustle are the definitive factors. So there's a different way for everybody, but if your principles are aligned, you could get there.
How are you creating your business system too? Because I know even going on your Instagram, you have a very particular way that you accept clients and that you go about booking people. Was that intentional?
Yeah, because that's why I said it's really me. In my personal life, I'm not really that accessible. And I had a conversation with my grandmother when I first wanted to start nails, and she told me, don't worry. Rolls Royce doesn't advertise itself. When you want to buy a Rolls Royce, people know where to get one. So she said, carry your business like it's a Rolls Royce. So that's how I carry Lux K. The booking is really not that hard. Now I'm not accepting any new clients because it's just me. But if I have a cancellation, I'll always leave it open to new clients because I want to see new inspiration. I want to meet new people. I want to give the information to educate. And I post everything in my IG stories. That's where the bulk of what Lux K is. And you could definitely tune into that and just send me an email. And new clients get those appointments all the time when they're available. But the core of my client base are people that have been following me since the beginning of this.
How were you able to make this a full-time thing, right? Was it pricing? Like, was it a journey with like figuring out the pricing or what was that road to saying, all right, I could do Lux K full-time now?
So there was two things. One half was I was giving something I feel that was really different when I was in my salon working in Bushwick. And it got to a point that I saw people were coming to the salon because of me, because of the energy, because of the experience that I was giving them. And there was this girl that I had really admired on Instagram, and she was an interior decorator. And her concepts were so dope, and I had some saved for my nail inspo. And I reached out to her, and I was like, I want to do a nail studio. I just moved to Brooklyn. The original idea of my nail studio was so I could quit my job. I quit my full-time job January 9th, 2019. I had just walked out on lunch because I was just like, okay, I can't do this no more. I have to make a decision. And it was a new year, and I was really committed to sticking to the things that I said that I was going to do. But rewind, I met the girl on Instagram, reached out to her, and we ended up working together to make my studio that I have now. And she was helping me because we became friends. She was helping me, and she was painting the wall. And she said, Kia, you have something here. Why don't you invest in what you have here? And that was January 19th when I quit my job. So many people think that Lux K has came this far just by me. And that's so not true. I reached out to another girl, as I told you in the beginning of my story. I reached out to a lot of girls that have bigger followings than me, that I liked the things that they were doing. I reached out to Style by Reese, and I told her that I was learning a system, which was a pre-gel X. I know they say pre, because everybody doesn't know how to say it, but I say it each way. Reached out to her, and I saw she was wearing acrylics. And I was just like, you care for natural hair at a higher level. I really think when you're working with your clients, it will probably a better alternative if you could try out a full coverage gel system. I'm still learning it, but I would love to partner with you. And she was like, okay, no problem. She was really busy. She was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't get an appointment with her till a year later. And she came to Brooklyn when I first moved here, and I had boxes in my studio and everything like that. But I was a little embarrassed, and I'm just like, but I still want this opportunity. So I'm just like, whatever. And we ended up becoming cool. And probably my first 50 clients when I moved to Brooklyn came from Reese.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only did me knowing the kind of people that I wanted to surround myself with, and I followed their pages like how people follow mine, and I was really engaged with their journey, they have all poured into me. Ty Lauren, she's the influencer. She took the first meeting that I ever had, reaching out to an influencer, and I went to her with a layout of things I wanted to discuss, how to maximize her time and stuff like that. And she was like, wow, like you're so organized. You're going to do so good. And she really poured into me. She came to the Bronx and she did a nail shoot because I'm also an editorial manicurist. And I got tired of seeing all of these things in editorial that did not reflect what real nail culture looks like. So I had an idea to shoot in the corner store on my block in the Bronx. And she came from Staten Island and she let me shoot her in the corner store and everything like that. And that's when I think I started getting a lot of followers on Instagram because I was doing different things. I really like sneakers. So we did a couple of shoots with sneakers and her nails and things like that. And I just think my perspective was different on nails. And each person that I met was like a stepping stone on this journey. And they kind of pitched me the ball. They gave me the people. They gave me a little bit of the exposure. I didn't really have a strategy or outline because, like I said, my mind doesn't really work like that. I just commit to what I want in the outcome, and then I let the plan come together.
But that seems like it worked, right? And I think sometimes people, they can't commit, and that's why sometimes they have a hard time seeing results. But to be honest, it can sometimes be hard for people to commit. What would you say to that person who's feeling stuck or is hesitant or pushing go on this dream and this vision they have for themselves?
One thing I say on my page all the time is be scared. I be scared as fuck sometimes. I'm so scared. I live in Brooklyn in 2019 as an entrepreneur paying rent. Like, that's scary. I tell them, be scared. Take all the time you want in being scared. But when it starts to feel like fear, that's when you push yourself to do it. Because fear has stopped Black people for a very long time. And we don't have time or space for fear right now. We have to go after our dreams. We have to partner with people that can help us. And we need to keep pushing. So we don't have time for that no more. So be scared, but push yourself and have the mind state to push through the fear. And it will happen. It will definitely happen for sure.
And I feel like another part of your business too is also staying creatively inspired, right? Because a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong here, is a lot of like the designs that you do for your clients freestyle. So it's not necessarily like they're coming to you with a set thing. Do they give you that room to be innovative when it comes to what you're doing on their nails?
So my process with my clients is actually, I do a lot of inspo art.
Okay.
Because I teach people about having things that are personable to you. Because we live in a generation that everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody looks the same. Everybody's talking about the same things. I don't want to sit down and do a whole bunch of nude nails with neon tips. Like, I don't want to do that. So my process is really teaching people to take that time with yourself. That's self-care. What colors do I like? What prints do I gravitate to when I get dressed? What sneakers do I like? What kind of jewelry do I like? What kind of music do I like? So that's my process on that end. The second end is there are some people that I could create and freestyle for them because I know their style. We developed a friendship. We're pretty cool. So it's just an open, creative exchange. And then there's some people that are just starting in this journey and I work with them and then they develop their confidence. And then after a while, they're picking their own inspo. They're picking new colors. It's really a dynamic experience. It's dope. And I'm grateful to share that and have that approach within this industry.
What do you think people don't understand when it comes to nail health? Because I cannot have you on this show and not have you talk about how does our nail health affect our overall being? Because I don't think people talk about it, right? The nails are just either something you get done or you don't. No one really factors that into other health issues.
Well, one thing that people don't know about nail health is they're the issue. So I always keep it 100 with my clients. People will say, gel is so bad for my nails, it makes it so weak. Oh my gosh, no, you're bad for your nails because you're picking the gel off. Gel is an enhancement. It's light cure to your nail with a bond of acids, and you're pulling it off the nail plate. So that's why your nails are thin. That's why your nails are brittle. I think that people look at nails as aesthetic, and it very much is, but nails are an extension of the biggest organ in your body, which is your skin system. If you're not taking care of your overall skin and it's exposed, how do you want it to function well for you? So that's the education half, and that's the wellness half. Back to what I said about systemic wellness. It's your total body. What are you eating to make your nails grow? Are you drinking water? What are your habits day to day? Do you have an office job and you want these really, really long nails and you're typing all day and they keep popping off, and now you have these indentations and these sideline fractures in your nail? You need to make an adjustment. Are you a picker? Do you want to pick all the skin and you have hangnails and things like that? Okay, that's your skin expressing that it's dry and it needs some moisture. And you have to make your own plan. All of my clients have their own specific cuticle regimen. And I take that from dentistry because most people don't even know how to brush their teeth and care for their oral health. So being able to give that instruction and things like that makes me comfortable to talk about clients about their habits and the things that they need to do for their nails.
That's so important. I'm just so happy to talk to you because I think this is a conversation that a lot of people aren't necessarily having. I don't think people think it's that deep, but it is, you know?
Oh, it's very deep. I said within the second appointment, my clients change because not only do they see how it is to functionally have nails that aesthetically look good and that also are meeting their demands and their needs, but the feedback that they get from other people. My clients are as educated as I am on nails because this is something consistently that we're speaking about. And I always tell them the way that you speak about your nails is a reflection of me. So let's discuss the things that you don't understand. And let's speak to them so now you know how to make a change. Because once you give somebody knowledge, they're able to extend that and they're able to pass it on to each other. So that's really, really important. Start looking at your habits. Look at what you're doing. Use the internet as a resource. If you have an issue, look at the common denominator that's between them and seek that out. And people DM me all the time, and I try to answer them as much as I can because it's not just nails. It's a part of you. And if you're doing self-care bombs, bath bombs, and you're taking trips and this and that, if you're not taking care of the person, then what are all of those things worth? We need to interconnect them.
Talking about the person, what have been some challenges that you have been facing when it comes to either professionally building the business or just this personal development of becoming an entrepreneur and building out the Lux K brand?
That is such a good question. This experience is psychotic, it's humbling, it's beautiful, it's scary, it's overwhelming, it's tedious, it's so many things. So I'm still sorting through those things each day. Each and every day I'm sorting through them because my business hasn't even seen the mid-mark yet. It will be 2 years, July 17th. So I'm still growing through those things. That's the true, honest answer.
Do you ever get tired? Because I feel like, I'm only saying that because right now it's only you. So you are the sole service provider for the service that you provide. It's your livelihood. How does that affect you personally?
Yo, I went out yesterday with my friends and I was like, wow, I haven't been to a day party in forever. All my clients were like, you're outside? What are you doing? But I love this. And my brand is where hustle and artistry merge, because I'm a hustler. Ever since I was 14, I've been working. Ever since I was 23, I've had 2 jobs. I've had my own apartment. All of these things because I love creating my life. I love to create what's in my life. So I know there's a price to pay for that. It's not for everybody. Instagram makes everything look like it's for everybody. I'm 100% honest. I just did a question and answer segment on my Instagram, which was very, very interesting. People actually want me to do more of it, but so many people's questions were about, will people support you? And how do you balance this? And when do you have time for that? And I'm like, you don't. People won't support you until they see other people support you. You don't have time for certain things. I have to plan seeing my friends 2 months in advance. My mom is currently mad at me because she wants me to do a family reunion trip, but I have a big commitment that I need to do for myself and pushing my brand. And it's just like, people don't understand because it's been so fast. My mother will call me and be like, nobody's doing nails at 9:00. And I'm like,
I am.
little do you know. So it's the sacrifice, but I don't care because I've spent my life doing things the right way. And it's got me some good things. I'm grateful for it or whatever like that. But this is an opportunity to do something great. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, who is amazing above all things. But how dare I play with my life and that man lost his? Like how? I can't justify that to myself. So if I need to work 7 days a week, if I need to get this done, if I need to get that done, financial freedom, my only hope. I'm not out here playing. That's the hustler in me. And I also have the compassionate thing that Black women pay for all these services. And how many times do they feel confident about what they're getting? If I could educate you about how this is supposed to go and how you need to maintain it, and also having compassion about where you spend your money in Black consumerism, that's a big deal. That doesn't sleep. Malcolm X didn't sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I have to push. But that's me. And that costs a lot. But that's not for everybody. But at this point in time, I'm okay with it because I love what I'm doing and I'm creating my reality.
You must have been reading my mind, or you must have a camera on my notes right now, because I kid you not, the next thing I was going to ask you is I have this quote, because I know from your page you're a Nipsey Hussle fan, and I think you had posted a few weeks ago, maybe just a few posts ago or something, a Nipsey Hussle quote where he was talking about step into your greatness, right? And I think a lot of us are skirting, where, we're walking around the pond, but nobody wants to jump in. Why do you have to jump in?
Why wouldn't you? If you are cognitive and you are present in the world that's going on right now, as a Black person, why wouldn't you? That's bold to stay in a place that you're suffering when you have all this opportunity in front of you and not to take advantage of it. That's how you know you're a real one, when you out here and you able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I demand more of you. You need to be doing more of this. You have an opportunity to do these things, and everybody's opportunity doesn't look the same. We could all collectively work together in our greatness to do something fly. And that's the point that we're at right now. So you have to jump in.
I love what you said about that comparison too, because I think a lot of us often get caught up in the comparison game, and comparison kills. You never know what somebody had to sacrifice to get to where they're going, or you never know what someone's real story is. And you can't go by Instagram all the time, but I think social media makes it so easy for us to say, oh, I don't have this yet, or this person has that. How do you make sure that you're not getting caught up in that comparison game?
Well, I was me before social media.
You keep saying that. What do you mean by that? Who was Kia? Like, you keep saying, I was Kia before anybody. I'm like, but who? Right. What do you mean by that?
Like, I was always a person that was comfortable in myself, but not egotistical. Like, I was always cool with everybody. There might have been people that felt away by the way that I carried myself, or felt like I thought I was better at things like that, but I've just always been focused to never limit myself. But that could offend some people, and it's okay. But once you really get to know me and you around me, you be like, yo, she's wild cool, she's amazing. And I'm grateful for that because I've been through a lot of things to mold that, and nobody is worth taking those things from you. I feel like right now, me being an entrepreneur has been the most traumatic, but also freeing mental experience ever because every day I get to listen to Kia and trust what Kia feels is correct and it's affording me a lifestyle. That's crazy. It's crazy. If I wasn't Kia, I don't think I would have made it this far and also as far as I want to go because I've had a lot of shaping and molding to make the person that I am becoming.
What's a traumatic business experience you faced that you... One thing you would tell people, don't do this. I did it. Don't do it. Save yourself.
Don't bend on your boundaries because people will take advantage of you. And it will bother you because as a business owner, you have this great gift, right? This thing that you're passionate about that fuels you, that you want to share with other people. But people have to respect your boundaries to experience you. And sometimes when you combine money with your gift, that blurs the lines with people. I don't think that that's something you should allow yourself to do. I think that you should have firm boundaries and communicate why they are your boundaries, but stay aligned with them.
And I think I'm going to add to this. I'm not saying this is representative of your opinion. This is my opinion here too. I think for me personally, also don't be afraid to have boundaries with people that you know as well. I think sometimes it's easy to do boundaries with people that you don't know, who are clients, who are strangers. But then it's like the family, it's the friends, the ones who think they could get around them sometimes. You got to also be able to keep those boundaries with those people as well, right?
Yeah, it's something that I'm learning in entrepreneurship. Those are the hardest emails that I have to send, is telling my friends I have to charge them because they were late. Telling them, please don't text me, email me, talk to me in a certain way. I hate the word sis. Like, I hate people to call me sis. I hate people to email me, hey, love. I hate because my name means a lot to me. And also, I'm trying to present myself from start to finish in a professional light. You wouldn't email Nike, yo, what's good? What date it is, da-da-da-da. Like, it's a certain decorum that you would have. So that's the hardest part, really having to be the business person and then also tell your friend of 10 years, like, or more, yeah, I have to charge you for this on top of your service today, on top of you coming to see me and spend money on that. But it has to be the same as it would be for somebody who's not in my personal inner circle. So entrepreneurship will stretch you. It will stretch your boundaries with yourself too. I think a lot of people talk about entrepreneurship and we only talk about the money aspect, the client aspect, what it looks like. But a lot of people don't talk about the person. Because even if you do have to reach out to your friend and tell them that they owe you and things like that, how do you feel when they're late and you know that you might have somebody else coming that's not even from the boroughs, or you have something else that you have that's a certain deadline or things like that? I had to plan my day accordingly today to the podcast because I didn't want to have you wait on me. But had my first client been late today, that would have affected me. And if it's your friend, how do you have that conversation? And how do you have to pep yourself up to be able to respect your boundaries, to keep speaking about them with people close to you? I think it's a 360 thing.
You learned so much about yourself during this journey, right?
I did. I had things that I believed about myself. I think we all have like those inner voices. Like, I'm smart, but like, okay, what does that really mean? Am I book smart? Am I life smart? Am I emotionally intelligent? I think about things like on a really deeper level sometimes. So me having Lux K has shown me that I kind of am in tune with the things that I felt about myself, but I have so much more to expand on. So I always say I feel very blessed. It's nerve-wracking. It's a little shaky. I don't have it all figured out and things like that. But if I keep trusting in myself and I feel like not being afraid to ask other people questions and just keep it a buck, I think I'll be okay.
What's next for Kia? What's next for Lux K?
for me, myself, learning work-life balance is going to be important. Expanding my brand to the aspect of education. I really want to teach people about nails. I don't feel like I should be the only person that everybody wants to come to. I really want to share that gift. And then I also want to start teaching people about hand regimens. I think that's really important. We don't really focus on it being a unisex thing, but really expanding into that market as well and talking with our men too. We have to do so much. Men need to do better. So men's grooming, for sure. I hope God blesses me with that opportunity.
But there's so much opportunity, and I feel like you've accomplished so much just within the last 2 years. So I am sending so much light your way, and I just know, like, we talk a year from now, girl, you're probably going to have a salon in Tokyo. How you know?
Yes, I have to practice my Japanese because I am not that good. Arigato.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you never know. Like, a year from now, your life could totally change, but you have to just be willing to follow the journey and take the opportunities as they come, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You have to really get out of your own head and then really push yourself. This is psychotic. Like, I don't even know. Some days I be like, what are you doing? But then I have an aha moment like, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. But thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, so if you want to be a dream driver, Kia, you have to have your keys to success. So can you tell us 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road?
Financial stability, emotional wellness, and honesty with yourself.
Which one was the hardest for you to put in your toolkit?
I think honesty with yourself, in the fact not that I'm telling myself things that are lies, but really knowing in my heart that I feel like I could do a lot of these things. But I have to be honest and learn that it comes in phases. And I just have to celebrate the now and look at what I've accomplished and trust in me that I could get there for the next phase.
And where can our dream drivers find you online if they want to connect with you, if they want to book an appointment when your appointments open up?
Well, this is going to be like a major key thing. Let's explain this because I've never explained it before. So, appointments. Appointments are closed. So what does closed mean? Closed means that I have a set roster of clients that are in rotation consistently. So it's closed to have any other opportunities. One thing that I also do is I have my own studio, but I'm an editorial manicurist as well. So an editorial manicurist is somebody that's on set with editorial work like Vogue or Wonderland magazine or Essence or something like that. And you're working with content doing the nails for that particular thing. So I have that as my secondary that I do with nails. And I'm also a celebrity manicurist as well. So I work off of that schedule. So the appointment times that I have are really coveted things. But things do happen. So people cancel. And what I do to keep it fair, because, I mean, exclusivity is cool, but at the same time, I still need to learn other issues and I still need to learn other styles to expand my understanding of where I want my nail art to go. But my cancellations are open to all new clients. And they're always posted in my IG stories. So to get a reoccurring appointment, that is closed because the bookings are closed. But for cancellation appointments, I'm always leaving them open. The way to look for them and to find them is in IG. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So people need to follow your IG basically. Make sure you're following Kia on Instagram. And I'll definitely link to all of that in the show notes. This has been such a pleasure chatting with you, Kia. And I know we could go on. There's so many other things that we could talk about, but I really just hope that our dream drivers check out your page, check out your dope art. And I'm really grateful that you shared your story with us today.
Well, this was my first one. So I'm like, okay, I never really hear my voice this long. So I'm very interested to see how I feel about this. Thank you for reaching out to me and allowing me to really tell my story and get comfortable with some things that I was scared about. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate everybody that's listening and everybody that's input in my journey in any way, shape, or form. Y'all know who y'all are. I really appreciate it. I'm most humble and appreciative to my clients who grow with me and trust me, and everybody on Instagram that supports me and pushes me and sends me the messages and emails and things like that. I'm appreciative of that. I know you wanted my Instagram. It's 2_ the physical underscore with LUXK. And if you want to reach out, let's connect for business or anything like that. My email is ecochicnails@gmail.com. And all that information is in my bio on IG.
All right. Thank you so much, Kia.
Yo, thank you so much. Have a very good end of your summer. And you're doing great with this. Dreams and Drive. I fuck with it. It's dope.
Thank you. All right, so that's a wrap for episode 211 with Kia Stewart. I hope you enjoyed hearing her dream driving journey as well as her keys to success. If you guys love that episode, if you felt inspired, if you felt a little bit more motivated to keep going and keep pushing, please make sure you do this. Share it with somebody. That's the best thing you can do. You can post it to your Instagram stories. You can tweet about it. You can Facebook about it. You can send it as a text to a friend, whatever. Just share it with one person this week, and I greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you're following us on social. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can also use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. If you want to get our weekly newsletter, The Keys, I recap each episode. I have some extra stuff in there as well. And I want to start doing these weekly messages for dream drivers that are only for people who are subscribed to The Keys. So please, please, please make sure you're subscribed. Just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Listen, the last thing you need to do is, if you are not already subscribed to the Dreams and Drive channel, wherever you're listening to us on, whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Castbox, any audio app, hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications every time we have a new episode. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure that you are leaving a rating and review. Those ratings and reviews go a long way in helping us climb up the charts and also helping new people learn about the show. I also love to read new reviews, so if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts, I will definitely read it on next week's episode. As always, guys, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 212. Bye, guys.